mate?
Yeah, all good, Charlie.
Welcome to Unfiltered Lives, the other side.
Thank you very much.
I've known you for quite some time. You and David, it's been a pleasure to get you in this chair, mate, and to get on your story. I'm really looking forward to telling your story, mate.
Yeah, me too.
So I got to know you about 4 weeks before I came into recovery. I came in the second of November, and you came in to recovery.
I think it was about 2 weeks later, around about the middle of November.
And we were amazed because we've basically got somewhat of the same kind of stories a wee bit.
Yeah, pretty much, really. Yeah,
it was very, very similar.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, isn't there?
Yeah. So how long have you been in recovery, Dave?
20 months now. It was like the end of November, so yeah, around about 20 months now. 600 and something days.
Who's counting?
Yeah.
Dave, tell me where it all started, mate, and tell me a lot about your childhood. Who are you? What happened in your past? And let's get to know you a bit.
Yeah, so like my childhood was like there was me and my three brothers. We a fairly like average like earning family, really. Like my mum and dad, none of them were working at the time, really. My mum had like mental health issues, and my dad was poorly as well, with a few various things like from his childhood and stuff. So we didn't really do a lot. Like we only ever had one holiday, I think, as like kids and stuff. And so we were really close knit family. We used to do a lot of things together. You know, we used to have like family nights and stuff like that. So we were really close. Like I'm probably like looked up to my dad the way my kids did with me, really. So yeah, so we'd done as much as we could together, really. And obviously it was okay for a couple of years. And obviously, I mean, I've mentioned to you before, like my dad passed away when I was pretty young. So I was like 16.
You were 16 when?
Yeah, and that's when things started to go a bit wrong for me, really.
So, first of all, Dave, you're from Stockton, aren't you?
Yeah.
Born and bred?
Yes, unfortunately.
What were you like in school? With any problems in school, or was it just a normal childhood when growing up in school?
Let's say I was a bit of a problem child at school. I was always in trouble for something, and you know, I was one of these like kind of the quiet kid, but who always caused trouble, and I was just like the class clown, really. I was always in trouble with the teachers and getting kicked out of school, and I got kicked out early.
Are you the oldest brother of three?
The second oldest, so like I've got an older brother who was like 2 years older.
So you're the middle child then?
Yeah, second of four.
So you said that you're quite a close knit in my family. So in school, we was quite close as well.
Yeah, like me, and there was like my younger brother. I always used to look out for him, and my older brother looked out for me. So if I was ever in any troubles and all that, he was always there to like back me up, and we were always close even at school. And we had like the same kind of friends really as well, like the same friends group. So yeah, we were always like together really.
So you've been brought up in a quite close community then, haven't you?
Yeah, and we used to have all of our family close by as well. Like we'd have like my nana's at the bottom of the road, my aunties, uncles. We all like lived within about 2-minute walk of each
Really?
other. Yeah, so there was always another house we could just go in and do what we wanted to. Like,
and you kind of find that back in like the 70s and 80s, isn't it? Where the door was left open as such, and you could pop to your aunties and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't do that now. Like,
no.
You used to get all like my friends used to come in as well. They used to come and sit on the front and talk to my dad because my dad would talk to anyone. So they'd all sit on the front and stuff with us. So yeah, it was good times back in the 80s.
So going through school then, going through school and into your teenagers, how was life then?
Well, through the end of like the junior school, everything was pretty okay up until then. Then I went into senior school, and that's when things started to go a bit like I went in. I didn't really get settled in at school, so I was a bit like in and out of different classes and things like that. And then going into my last year, that was when like my dad passed away. So that was when things started to go a bit wrong, really, because I was acting up at school, and then I got moved out for the last year, and then it was round about that time when he passed away. So I was just kind of a bit lost, really.
So you mentioned that you were 16 when he passed.
Yeah.
That must have been absolutely traumatic at that age, at 16.
Yeah, it was because it was quite sudden as well. Like we were at home, and then he was in bed one night, and he kind of fell out of bed, and so we'd phoned the ambulance. We just thought he was asleep, he'd fell out of bed or something, but he'd actually had a stroke, so he got rushed into hospital, and he was in hospital for 2 weeks, and he never came back out. So he just got worse and worse when in hospital, really. So yeah, it was quite sudden, really.
How did that affect the family unit? I mean, know having your dad coming back, especially being very, very
Yeah,
close.
that was really hard for all of us, really. Like my younger brother at the time was only 9 as well, but obviously my mum had always had like mental health issues as well, so she really struggled. Like when my dad passed away, we all kind of had to look out for each other, really, because I mean, I don't want to say that bad against, because she's passed away as well now, but like it was quite hard for her, because like say trying to bring up 3 boys on her own, and she wasn't in the best of health herself, so we just kind of struggled by, really, and did the best we could. So interesting times, really.
How did you and your brothers, did you manage to get closer, uh, knowing that your dad has passed now,
Yeah.
and your mum's got mental health and problems? Did you and your two and my brothers get closer? I mean, did
Yeah,
you
I think
bond
like me
more?
and my second youngest brother, me and our Paul, we were always close anyway. Like we were really best mates and everything. Like we used to share a room. We both lived at home till like we were in our 20s and stuff. But like me and my older brother, we got closer during this period, because he was like 18, I was 16, and so he kind of looked out for me. And you know, the first thing that me and him did was go straight to the pub, and I wasn't even old enough, but I was just like, I
How
needed
old were you?
something. I was 16, yeah. So we went straight to the pub and just got drunk, basically, because I didn't know what else to do at the time. So
I'm taking that wasn't your first drink.
it wasn't my first drink, and it was the first like proper session, I would say, like where you just want to drink to forget things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably where it started, really.
How did that feel? That drinking to forget. How did that feel?
It felt good at the time, I suppose. Yeah, like when you don't really know how to deal with your emotions and things, and you've got like anger, you've got upset, you've got all sorts going on, and you can't just like quieten your head down. So you just needed something. And obviously, my brother was old enough to go in the pub, so he's like, "Oh, come with me," and we went in, and it just seemed to work at the time. And that was the first time, really, I probably kind of used some like a substance, alcohol, whatever it is, to numb feelings and to not feel anything. So yeah, it was difficult times, really.
Or did you ever feel like this shouldn't have happened? Did you know when
Yeah,
your
I
dad
was
passing?
kind of like angry at the world and things. Like obviously it happened quite sudden, but like me and my brothers were always close anyway.
Yeah.
But we only had like a few like small friends in like in our local street and things. So I kind of probably did shut off a little bit from everyone else, really, and I was just getting into trouble and doing things because I didn't know what to do, really. I couldn't really
Yeah.
cope, and I didn't really know what like mental health was, or like what support you could get in them days, because it was a lot different back like 30 years ago. So yeah, it was really strange.
Your first real drink to you forget. Did that trigger? I mean, anything that oh, this alcohol can make me you forget now. It can control my emotions to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think that really was, it kind of did, like it helped me forget things, and then I just thought, you know what, it actually feels quite good. And that was where I associated like using that to kind of numb any feelings and not have to feel any upset or anything like that. And then that was where it kind of all started to go wrong, really. Yeah, so yeah, interesting.
What do you mean then it started to go wrong? What do you mean?
Well, I started getting in trouble and things. Obviously, I was drinking quite a lot at the time then, and just drinking any time I could, really, and still sneaking in the pub and that with my older brother.
So this has started off then, has this now
Yeah,
and started off that Monroe now?
yeah, and that was when I just thought, well, if I can do it, then why not do it? It's just nothing's going to stop me now, so I'll just do what I want, really. And there was a few little things. I get in trouble with the police and just do daft things, really. I get into fights and doing things I shouldn't be doing, really. But I didn't really know what else to do. I didn't know how to cope with
Yeah.
life, really.
So alcohol became the coping mechanism.
Yeah, and it was just a way of numbing anything else what was going on, really.
Talk me through your early 20s then. I mean, Dave, I mean, getting a job, getting some work,
Yeah.
building your family that you've got.
Yeah, the first job I had really, I was about 18, 19, and because my older brother, got a job as well, and me and him worked together. But I think he just didn't want to go into the job like on his own, so he's like, "Oh, come with me," and we both went in and signed up with the job. We done it together. He used to always like fall asleep at work and not do things, and I was always like, I think the other one had to do the work and stuff like that. But it was interesting time really, and that just gave us more resources, I suppose, to go out and get drink and stuff. So we used to go out every weekend, and that was where other things started getting involved, and it was
What's the other
crazy
things?
times. Well,
What's the other things?
there was obviously drugs involved and things like that, and
fine.
like when you go to nightclubs and things, and there's just other ways to get yourself out of the
We're young, aren't we? We're young.
Yeah,
We're
you're like 19, 20, 21, and then you just
we're
think,
looking
well,
for that excitement, aren't
yeah,
we?
and you just think you're invincible, don't you? You think
Yeah.
like you can do anything you want and nothing's going to affect you, and then
Nothing's going to
yeah,
touch me. The
Yeah.
world's my oyster.
yeah, and then you realise it's all not right. So yeah, you just have to get on with things, really, don't you?
So, talk me through your early 20s then. Are you still drinking?
Yeah, so still drinking quite a lot. We used to we used to go out every weekend, but we'd always drinking. That's when we started drinking in the house as well, like my brothers and like his friends and cousins and things like that. So we'd all just sit in the house and we'd start drinking. We'd play drinking games and we'd get up to some crazy shit, to be honest with you.
So it's just normal behaviour, isn't
Yeah.
it? For did you ever think then that you would become an alcoholic?
No, not really. I suppose at the time then you just think you can have like, I could never have one, but you could have like 6 or 7 and just think you could stop. But that was never the case because once I've had like one, then there's no limit. Like I've always said to people, like if people say you're going out for a drink, it's just like what, like it could be anything. Or they say you come for a pint, then it's just a pint. But then what's the point?
Yeah. What's the point of one drink?
That's how I used to think. Yeah, so I was like, it's all or nothing with me. So yeah, so if you don't get wasted, there's no point. But that was the old me. Yeah, so my other brother, my younger brother Paul, he's like 2 years younger than me. Like I say, we were always really close and things like that. We were. So this way it gets hard. Yeah, so obviously it was me and him. We used to share a bedroom and things like. It was like our own little flat. Really, we used to sit in there. We had our own like beer fridge. We used to play games in there and stuff like.
Proper lads.
Yeah, we used to get up with some mischief and stuff in there. And there's a few other stories for another day maybe. But yeah, then so we were doing quite a lot. We were going out every weekend, and I was always paying for him because he was a tight ass and he didn't have as much money. So like, yeah, we were out every weekend and things, and we used to go to all the football games, and we were going to a couple of games. We went to one game one week, and I took him out for his birthday because it was his birthday like 2 weeks before, and it would have been my youngest brother's 18th birthday the next day. So we went out for a couple of drinks, went to the football game. It's weird actually because it was 18. It's exactly 18 years tomorrow. So when it happened, so yeah, we went to the football game. I was sat a bit higher up from them. Them two sat down near the front, and we had a couple of beers at half time. I said, "I'll see you at the end of the match." And then it come to about 10 minutes before the end of the game, and I looked down. I seen a bit of a commotion. And I thought, "Oh, what's going on here?" So I tried to get down, and I seen all the stewards like kind of leaning over, and my brother had collapsed. My youngest brother, he fell onto my youngest brother. And they just thought he probably had too much to drink, or he was tired or whatever. But he'd actually had a fit while he'd collapsed, and he'd like wet himself and stuff. And they probably just thought he'd had too much to drink and that. And then they took him into the medical room. Like I say, this was 10 minutes before the end of the game, and then we didn't really know what was going on, so we had to sit in our seats, and then we followed round a couple of minutes later, and then they like kind of whisked him away to the hospital. And it was when we got to the hospital, that's when they told us, like, sorry, he's gone. He's like, he's died, really. He had like a brain aneurysm, and when he jumped up to celebrate the goal, it just popped, and that was it. He died instantly. So it was was horrible, really. It was really, really hard. Like
How old was he, Dave?
23. Yeah, it would have been like his birthday just recently. Would have been like 41, just like 2 weeks ago. See, it's 18 years. Coming at 18 years tomorrow since it happened. So August is always like a difficult month for me, really. I always look forward to it with the football season and things, but then there's also like a lot of things where I just think I just don't want to be here, and it's like it's just hard, really. Obviously, I've learned to deal with things a lot better now. I mean, it's took me 30 years really to deal with everything.
You remember what was his name, Dave?
Paul.
Paul.
Yeah, got him on here on the arm. So yeah, and we actually named my baby son, like his middle name was Morgan Paul. Yeah, so, like carried the name on, really. Yeah, that was a difficult time, really. Obviously, as you can probably imagine.
How did life go on after that then?
It didn't really from there. Like I mentioned, I'd went off the rails a bit before, but I was working at the time when this happened, so I had to have a lot of time off work because I just couldn't really face going to work, really. So then I'd stayed off it. But when I did go back, I just wasn't in the right headspace, really. I was just, for want of a better word, I was just fucked up, really. I was just, yeah.
How old were you then, Dave?
I'll have been 25. He was 23, so.
How do you even comprehend that?
I know,
it's
well.
Uncomprehendable, isn't it?
Yeah. See, there'd already been a few things that had happened to me before then, so then I don't know how I'd really got from 16 even to 25 in mind to from 16 to 43 now, so it's been a long ride.
How was life after that then? How did the alcohol play a part in that?
I think then that's when it got really a lot worse, really, because the first thing I did from that night anyway was I was still kind of in denial of it. I went straight home and the fridge was full of beer, and I just sat up all night and I just sat and drank it all, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm not really asked anymore what happens now.
The alcohol is starting to really
drink
take
as much as I could.
I think,
at that point, it was probably, like I say, when my brother died, and then I was off. I had to have a bit of time off work just to try and get my head straight, really. But then I just used that time I was pretty much drinking every day by that point, and just drinking to kind of numb everything out, really, and just drinking what I could. So yeah, that was probably where it started to take a hold, and I couldn't really control what I put in once I took the first drink.
What was your mental health like then? All those
it was
years?
Terrible, really. At that point, like obviously things were quite difficult, and then when I did go back to work, I didn't really feel like going back to work. And I went back to work, and then the first thing someone did was kind of take the piss out of because of what had happened and stuff, and saying like, just not saying very nice things, really.
Really?
Yeah. So then I kind of flipped and I started fighting with someone at work, which it's not the best thing to do, is it? But when they say, no, he's come back to work now and his head's fucked up and all the rest of it, and they're just trying to get a rise from me, and I just wasn't in the mood for it, really. So yeah.
Can you describe the difficult years? What was that like? That despair, if you could describe that.
I think then it's almost like you feel like you're dead inside and everything, really. You're laid in a coffin and you're just staring out into space and you can't really see what's going on. It was a horrible time, really, and a horrible feeling. It was like I just felt totally dead inside, and just I didn't want to be there, really, because obviously, like I mentioned, we shared a room and stuff. So like sleeping in that house and then looking at his bed and seeing that he wasn't there and stuff, and it was really hard at first. And I used to just drink myself to sleep every night just so I could fall asleep, because it's the only way I could get to sleep, really. Yeah, it was difficult. And like one time, really, it wasn't just drink. Like I had a bottle of pills and I just drank myself to sleep, and I don't know how I woke up, really. I just thought I wasn't really bothered at this point. I didn't really care what happened anymore. Yeah, it was really difficult.
It's undescribable. I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, it's horrible when you're stuck inside your own head and there's nowhere to go, is there? Like you can't get out of that.
And is the drink now playing a big part in this now? And like numbing these man's feelings?
It was numbing the feelings of, but then also obviously it was just kind of, I suppose, relaxing me really, because I was kind of staying in the house when I was off work. I was staying in the house quite a lot, so then I needed something so I could go out and into the world really and not just face my demons, but face the world. Like I felt like I needed a drink just to step out the front door, or
it's became your crutch now. Yeah, it's became your crutch.
It was just like I say, I used to drink every night just to get me to sleep and things. And
now, I know that you've got a beautiful family.
Yeah.
And I know that you absolutely dote on your family, and we're going to get to that part. Tell me, what was your rock bottom that brought you into the rooms of recovery? What brought you there?
There was probably one or two, but I think that the main one really was 2021 was when there was a bit of things going on at home, and then I was starting to drink quite a bit. And I did actually drink quite a bit, and I attempted to take my own life. It was like early 2021, and basically just drove off in my car and just thought I'm not coming back. That was when I just had enough then, and I drank. I can't remember how much I drank, but yeah, I drove myself.
The car having you take your own life.
Yeah, I drove off. It was just down Stockton actually. I drove down to the seafront. I was supposed to be at work, so obviously I thought I'd drive off. The wife thinks I'm going to be at work all day. I'd stayed at my brother's the night before because, like I say, there was a few issues at home. So I was like, the police were called and things, and I had to go and stay out the house for the night. And I kind of lied really. I said like I needed money for something, so my brother had given me money. Then I went out and bought loads of alcohol, drove off to Seaton, and what else to do around here than drink yourself stupid and sit in the sea, as you do when your head's up your ass. Yeah, so I drove to a quieter spot. There's actually a spot where there's like a big rock face and there's a long drop. And at one point I just sat in the car there and I just thought, I'll just drive off the end. It'll be even quicker then. But then I thought I didn't have enough to drink by this point. So I drank as much as I could in about the space of about 10 minutes. Drove somewhere else and I could barely see straight. And then I drove off to a quieter part, and I was just kind of sat in the sand dunes, and I drank a bit more. And then by this point I could barely stand up. And I think I must have phoned or messaged the wife or something, and she didn't answer. So I just thought, oh, that's like a sign, isn't it? It's like a sign, like I'm not meant to be here anymore. So then I drove off to my final kind of resting place at the side of the sea, and then I just walked off into where the steps go down, and I just sat there, and the water was getting higher and higher, and I think she just kind of turned up at the right time. Really, she turned up with a mum, and probably just in time, really. And must have been a sight for the people who were sat around watching them two trying to drag me into the car, and someone had to drive my car home because I couldn't even stand up. So it was a crazy time, really. But from there, like obviously, it's like that was just over 3.5 years ago, and it's been a bit of a bumpy ride even from that point, really. Obviously, it wasn't long after that before I did come into the rooms of recovery and stuff like that. So obviously, I had a lot of counselling as well in that period as well. So it was a difficult time, really.
Let's talk about your solution, Em and Dave. Now, I can remember your first meeting.
Yeah.
I remember, and you looked as if you had the weight of the world. Now, I thought I had the weight of the world on my shoulders until I seen you. Then you had the universe on your shoulders. I only had the world. You had the universe.
I did. The universe and the planet and the stars and everything.
So you've been sober for how long, Dave?
Now I think it's about 20 coming up 21 months. So yeah, it's getting on a bit now. So I mean, it hasn't been easy, but like I say, the first meeting when I came in, I literally came in as the meeting started, and I was outside, and I was just stood outside the door, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do here. Should I go in? Should I not? And then because I'd been putting it off anyway, because like I was in counselling, and my counsellor had actually mentioned it, because this was the time when I was in recovery from my back injury as well. So I hadn't told the hospital and things how much I was drinking at this point, because they wouldn't do my operation basically, because I was on quite strong medication. and I didn't really want anything putting my operation off because I couldn't walk at this point, and things were getting quite difficult. So,
were you in a car crash?
yeah, so that was actually before the 2021, but it's 2019 when I had the car crash. But from like 2019 to 2021, my back just gradually got worse and worse. Really, I was working as a personal trainer at the time as well, and the doctors had told me not to stop lifting weights. And thinking, I'm supposed to do that when I work in a gym, so I didn't listen, and it just got worse and worse and worse, and it got to a point where I couldn't walk, and I was in a sorry state for myself. Really, I put a lot of weight on. I was drinking pretty much all the time, especially when I was in the house. I'd drink as much as I could. Like the kids and the wife would go out and stuff, and I'd be sat upstairs just drinking myself stupid, really, just because I didn't know what else to do. So yeah, it was a difficult time, and it was obviously difficult just to try and get out my own head, really, get through the days without doing something silly, really.
What's your life like now then? You're 20 odd months sober now.
Yeah.
And what's your life like? Because our recoveries on the different paths, some didn't. I seem to get it straight away, and you were just like a kind of slow burner, weren't you? There's nothing wrong with that at all, as long as you're burning.
Yeah, I think I kind of probably felt at first I'd only came in because my counsellor kept saying, like, because every time I'd go when I have an appointment with her, she'd be like, have you been to the meetings yet? I'd be like, oh no, I'm going to do it next week. And she's like, you're just putting it off, you're putting it off. So I went in, and like I'd been in there 2 weeks, and then I went to my brother's and had a couple of drinks, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to start again now. So
yeah,
that's when it ended up being the end of the month. But like from there, really, it's like I say, it has been a bit up and down. But I was with another guy who was helping me, sponsor me for a little while, and I was just going through it slowly. But then obviously he passed away, and that was probably another thing where I just thought like everything's against me, and I just thought bollocks to this. I don't know.
Another person passed away.
Every time I get close to someone, they always like snuff it. So I'm like, what do I do now? Like I'm a
I don't mean to laugh, but you.
I know, don't get too close. Yeah, it's good that I can kind of laugh about it now, but obviously at the time when you're stuck in the madness of mental health and like drinking all the time, you can't really see another day. But like my life at the minute there has been a few issues as well, like some of the things what you know about, but I'm just taking every day as it comes, really. I just take each day as a time. I do my meditation in the morning. I look forward to every day, and I can actually see the sun even when it's like not so nice weather. I just think, well, I don't let things get me down now, really.
You've done your first year at university?
Yeah, so I'm just waiting to go back in a couple of weeks. And
massive.
It's something, I mean, I didn't even finish school. I got kicked out of school early. So going back to university when I'm like 42, I think I was last year when I started.
What you studying, Dave?
Sports science.
Sports science.
Yeah, sports science degree, so.
And you still do my personal training.
Yeah.
You do my loads on social media, man, don't you?
Yeah, it's something I always had a bit of a passion for, really. But like I was always like playing football or doing something at school. But it was a couple of years when I had another bad mental health episode, and I needed to do something just to get out the house. So I just started running. I'd probably do like a mile, and I'd build it up. And then the missus had said, like, I've signed up for the Great North Country I've always talked about. It was like, oh, right, okay. I kept saying I was going to do it, and I never signed up. So she signed me up. And then that was kind of what gave me the even bigger passion, really. And I'd done that. And that was when I'd done my personal trainer course just after that. And I've done the Great North another 2 times since. And then I've done charity boxing fights as well. So it's always something I've always been interested in. And then like I lost my job because of my back injury. I think it had been early 2022. So that was when I just thought, this is the opportunity now to do something I've always wanted to do and stop putting things off.
You must see a massive change in you. I do.
Yeah, like I used to hate just going outside and things. Like I always wear a cap now, but I always used to wear a cap. I used to wear it down here, and I'd be down there, I had my head down there like that, and like I couldn't look people in the eye, and I just hated myself, really. I hate looking in the mirror, but now I just look in the mirror and I just see someone who's been through a lot of tough shit, really. But then, like, I'm still here somehow. I don't know how, but I'm still here. So,
what's a day in the life like in your life, Dave?
I get up in the morning. I'll do my prayer and meditation first thing, and then I always like try and plan what I'm going to do for the day, because I like to have a bit of a plan. I'm like kind of a bit obsessed with things really. I need to know what's going on, how long
structure. There's nothing wrong with
if
structure.
I don't have any structure, then I'm
nothing
like,
wrong with it.
God, what's going to happen now? I hate not knowing what's going to happen. It's horrible. So yeah, I need a plan and a structure to go forward, and then keeps my head in the right place, gets me through the days, and starting the next one the same way.
What would you say to the Dave of the past?
I think what's one thing what was said to me before was that, like through my counsellors, it said like, I'm still that lost little boy, because I was when I first went into the rooms. Like I was still that 16-year-old boy who lost my dad. But I think now I'd probably just say it to like the old me, who's like, you're going to go through some tough things, but you will get through it, even though you probably can't see it at the time, but you will get through it, and you're actually not a bad person after all, even though I used to think that quite a lot. So yeah.
Dave, thank you very much for this interview, mate. I know how much you've been through in life, and you have been through a considerable amount, and to see how well that you're doing now, mate, is just marvellous. It's a massive achievement. So I just want to thank you for being my friend, mate, and thanks for this interview.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.